Zora 7 was a dark and dangerous planet. In the middle of the city stood a huge arena made of metal and stone. Every day, creatures from different planets came to watch battles. Inside the arena, fighters were forced to fight for survival. Some wanted freedom, some wanted fame, some just wanted to stay alive. The strongest fighter in the arena was Zora. She was tall, strong, and fast. Her skin was blue with silver lines. She wore black armor full of marks from past battles. Zora had never lost a fight. Not once. She had fought 100 times. All her enemies had fallen. Some were broken. Some never moved again. Before every fight, she looked at her enemy and said the same words, "Kill me or own me." Her voice was always cold. Her eyes showed no fear. The crowd loved her. They cheered her name. But they also feared her. Even the guards did not go near her unless they had to. One day, a new fight arrived. The crowd grew quiet. It was not a beast, not a robot, not a giant from a war planet died. It was a human. The people in the crowd started to laugh. A human had not been seen on Zora 7 in many years. Most believed humans were weak, soft, and full of emotion. They were not made for war. The human stepped into the metal cage. His name was Tom. He was not tall, not strong, and had no armor. He wore simple clothes and had calm brown eyes. His face showed no fear. He looked at Zora like she was not a monster, but just a person. Zora stepped forward. She studied him. Her voice was sharp. "You are human." "Yes," Tom replied. "You came to fight me." "No," Tom said. "I came to see you." Zora narrowed her eyes. "This is not a place for talk." "I know," Tom said. "But I don't want to fight you." The crowd began to shout. They wanted action. They wanted blood. Some threw things at the cage. Others screamed at Tom to run or beg for his life. Zora raised her hands. She was ready to fight. "You stand before me without fear," she said. "Why?" "Because I didn't come to win. I came to help." Zora rushed forward. Her punch hit Tom in the chest. He flew back and fell to the ground. The air left his lungs. He coughed and rolled over. Slowly, he stood again. His lip was bleeding. He wiped his mouth and said, "You're strong, but you're also tired." Zora paused. She had heard many cries in battle. She had seen fighters cry, beg, and scream. But no one had ever said she looked tired. "You do not know me," she said. "I see enough," Tom said. "You're not a monster. You're a prisoner, just like the others." Zora looked at the cage walls, then at the crowd, then back at Tom. "No one ever says that to me. Maybe no one tried to understand you," Tom said. Zora circled him. Her steps were heavy. Her fists were tight. "Do you think words will save you?" "No," Tom said. "But maybe they'll save you." Zora stopped walking. She looked at him with deep, cold eyes. "You want to free me?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because you deserve more than this." The crowd grew confused. They came to watch a fight. They came to see blood. Now they saw something strange. The champion was not attacking. The human was not afraid. Tom took one step closer. Zora did not stop him. "You have spent your life fighting. But have you ever had a friend?" Zora's hands fell to her sides. She had no answer. Tom placed his hand gently on her arm. She did not move. No one had touched her like that before. Not with fear, not with force, just kindness. Zora spoke in a quiet voice. "I was taken from my home when I was a child. I was trained to fight. They told me I was born for war." "You were born to live," Tom said. The guards around the cage were confused. The people in the stands shouted louder. They wanted the fight to begin. Some yelled that the human should be removed. Others said it was a trick. Tom turned to the crowd. "This is not a game. This is her life. She is more than what you want her to be." Someone threw a rock. Zora stepped in front of Tom and blocked it with her hand. Then she faced the crowd and raised her voice. "I will fight no more." Gasps came from the stands. The guards stepped closer, unsure what to do. Zora looked at them. "If you try to stop me, you will fail." The guards backed away. No one dared to face her. Tom looked up at Zora. "Are you ready to leave this behind?" Zora nodded. I have been ready for a long time. I just didn't know how. Tom smiled. Then come with me. We'll find a new way. The cage door opened. Zura and Tom stepped out, side by side. The crowd stayed silent. No one had ever walked out of the arena like that. Not the fighter. Not the human. The champion was unbeaten in battle. But now, she had met someone who did not want to win. He wanted to heal. And in that moment, the true fight began. Not with fists or weapons, but with hope. The sun was low on the horizon of Zor 7. The city around the arena buzzed with noise and confusion. News of what had happened in the cage spread quickly. Zura, the unbeaten warrior, had walked away from a fight, and she had done it with a human. Tom and Zura moved through the narrow streets. Tom led the way, but Zura kept watching their backs. She had walked these streets before as a prisoner. Now she was free, but freedom felt strange. Where are we going? Zura asked. To the spaceport. Tom said, I have a ship. Zura looked at him with doubt. You came alone. You had no weapon. How do you have a ship? Tom smiled. Not. Everything I do makes sense. You'll get used to it. Zura said nothing. She watched the people around them. Some stared. Some moved away. Others whispered to each other and pointed. Zura was known by all. They had seen her fight. Now they saw her walk with someone who did not fear her. As they passed a market, a group of guards stepped into their path. Their armor was dark, and their eyes were cold. The leader raised his hand. Zura, you must return to the arena. I will not, she said. You broke contract. You belong to the council. Zura stepped forward. Her eyes were sharp. I belong to no one. Tom placed a hand on her arm. We don't have time for this. Let's move. The guards reached for their weapons. Zura moved faster. In one swift step, she knocked it to the ground. Tom pulled her back. Don't kill them, he said. We need to get out, not make more trouble. Zura nodded. She used only enough strength to push the others aside. They ran through the streets as alarms began to ring. Lights turned red, doors locked. The city wanted to trap them. Tom took a sharp turn into a dark alley. At the end of the path was a gate. He typed a code into a panel. The gate opened to a landing zone where a small ship stood waiting. It was old, but it looked strong enough. This is your ship? Zura asked. Yes, Tom said. She's called Sparrow. Zura tilted her head. A small name for a ship. Sometimes small things go far, Tom said. They entered the ship. Tom sat in the pilot's seat and started the engine. Zura stood behind him, watching every button he pressed. The ship lifted into the air just as more guards entered the landing zone. A few fired weapons. But the ship rose out of reach. As they flew up, Zura looked out the window. She saw the arena from above. It looked smaller now. It had once been her whole world. Now it was only a part of her past. She turned to Tom. Why did you come for me? Tom did not look away from the controls. I saw a message, a short video. Of your last fight, you looked strong. But I also saw pain. I couldn't forget your face. Zura sat down. Her hands rested on her knees. You could have died. I knew the risk, Tom said. But I also knew you were more than a fighter. They left the planet's sky and moved into space. Stars appeared all around them. Zura had seen them before, but never like this. Not through free eyes. Tom set the ship on course and leaned back. We'll rest soon, he said. There's a quiet moon not far from here. No guards, no arena. Zura nodded slowly. What happens next? Tom looked at her. That's up to you. Zura had never heard those words before. Her whole life had been planned by others. Every fight, every meal, every moment. Now she had a choice. I don't know what I want, she said. That's all right, Tom replied. You'll figure it out. For a while, they sat in silence. The ship hummed around them. Zura stared at her hands. She had used them to break bones, to win battles, to survive. Now she wondered what else they could do. Do humans always act like this? She asked. Not all, Tom said. But I try. Most would have come to fight me. Most see strength in fists. I see it. In choice, Zura leaned back. She felt tired, but not from battle. It was a different kind of tired. The kind that came from carrying pain for too long. Do you have a home? She asked. Not anymore. Tom said, I go where I'm needed. Zura looked at him with new eyes. This human was not like the others she had seen in stories. He was not weak. He was not loud. He was kind, but not soft. He had faced her without fear. I think I want to learn, she said. Learn what? Learn how to be more than a fighter. Tom smiled. Then you already took the first step. The ship moved through space, away from Zor 7. Behind them was a world of chains and steel. Ahead was a future still unknown. Zura closed her eyes for a moment. No sounds of battle. No crowds, only quiet. For the first time in her life, she felt peace. And the journey was just beginning. Tom's ship, Sparrow, moved gently through the stars. Inside the cockpit, soft lights blinked and screens showed peaceful data. There was no sound of battle. No crowd. No guards chasing them. Just space. Zura sat near the window, looking outside. She had never traveled through space like this before. She had always been moved in cages or locked ships. Now she sat freely, watching the stars pass by. Tom was at the controls, checking their path. We'll reach the moon soon, he said. It's not much, but it's safe. Zura nodded. She was quiet. She had not spoken much since they left. Zor 7. Her mind was full of questions, but she didn't know how to ask them. After an hour, the ship reached a small gray moon. It had no cities, no towers, no people, only hills, caves, an open sky. The ship landed near a rocky cliff beside a still lake. As the engines turned off, Tom stood and stretched. We can stay here for a while. No one will find us here. Zura followed him out of the ship. The wind on the moon was soft. The air was cool and clean. It was quiet, so quiet that Zura could hear her own breath. She looked at the water. It was calm. She touched it with her fingers. It was cold. Do you like it? Tom asked. Zura looked around. It is strange, but not bad. Tom smiled and sat on a flat rock. He placed a small box beside him and opened it. Inside were food packs. Hungry? He asked. Zura sat across from him and took a pack. She tasted the food slowly. It was dry but warm. She had eaten worse things in her life. Where are you from? She asked. Earth, Tom said. It's far from here. A blue world, full of oceans and forests. Why did you leave it? Tom looked up at the sky. Because there are people out here who need help. I wanted to do something real. Zura ate in silence. After a while, she spoke again. You could have stayed safe. Why risk your life for someone like me? Tom looked at her. Because you were never the monster they made you. Zura stared at him. No one had said those words to her before. Not the guards, not the council, not even herself. I don't know how to live without fighting, she said. Then start with simple things, Tom said. Wake up, breathe, eat, walk, listen. That's living too. Zura stood and walked near the lake, her feet pressed into the soft ground. She looked up at the sky and saw the stars. So many of them. She had never looked at them like this before. Do you miss your home? She asked. Sometimes. Tom said, but I think I've found a new one. Wherever I can. Help someone. That's home enough for me. Zura turned to him. I don't know who I am now. Tom nodded. That's all right. You're not the same as before. That means you're growing. For the first time in many years. Zura felt something inside her. A small feeling. Not fear. Not anger. Something gentle. I want to try, she said. Tom stood and walked to her side. Then let's take one step at a time. They spent the next few days on the moon. Tom showed Zura how to cook small meals, how to build a fire, and how to fix parts of the ship. Zura listened closely. She learned fast. One night, they sat by the fire outside the ship. Zura watched the flames dance. I had no name before, she said. They call me Zura, but it was given by my trainers. Do you want a different name? Tom asked. Zura thought for a moment. No, I want to keep it, but I want to give it meaning myself. Tom nodded. Then make it your own. They watched the fire in silence. Later that night, Zura could not sleep. She stepped outside and looked up at the stars again. In the distance, something caught her eye. A small blinking light in the sky. She walked back into the ship and checked the screen. A message was coming through. A ship had entered the moon's orbit. It was scanning for signs of life. Zura's heart beat faster. She woke Tom. "There's a ship above us," she said. Tom sat up quickly and checked the screen. "Council ship," he said. "They must be looking for you." Zura's hands closed into fists. "They will take me back." Tom shook his head. "Not if I can help it." He started the ship and began warming the engines. Zura stood by the window, watching the sky. "They will follow us again," she said. "Then we'll lead them somewhere they can't follow." Zura looked at him. "You keep risking yourself." "I don't mind," Tom said. "You're worth it." Zura's eyes softened. She turned back to the screen. "Then let's go." The ship rose from the moon and slipped into space again. Behind them, the council ship followed. But this time, Zura was not running alone. She had someone beside her. And now, she was ready to fight for something new. The Sparrow flew fast through space. Inside the ship, Tom sat in the pilot's seat, focused on the screen. Behind them, the council ship followed closely. Its weapons were armed. It had orders to capture Zura alive, or destroy the ship if needed. Zura stood beside Tom, her eyes fixed on the radar. Her fingers tapped the metal wall slowly. "They will not stop," she said. "I know," Tom replied. "But I have a plan." Zura turned to him. "What kind of plan?" "We'll lead them through the belt of Thallon rocks," Tom said. "It's full of broken asteroids and debris. A large ship like theirs will have trouble inside." Zura nodded. She trusted his judgment. In the last few days, she had seen his mind work. He was not a warrior like her, but he had other strengths: quick thinking, calm under pressure, a deep sense of care. Tom changed direction and sped toward the belt. The stars around them blurred. Alarms inside the ship beeped. The council ship stayed behind them, firing small shots that missed but shook the Sparrow. "We can't take too many hits," Tom said. "This ship is old." "Let me help," Zura said. Tom pointed to a seat next to him. "Watch the energy levels. Tell me if we're running low." Zura sat down and studied the screen. Numbers changed quickly. The engine was strong, but the shield was growing weaker. "The shield won't last long," she said. "Then we better lose them fast." Ahead of them, the Thallon rocks appeared. Thousands of broken pieces of stone floated in space. Some were the size of small ships. Others were large enough to hide whole cities. Tom flew straight in. The Sparrow shook as it passed between the sharp rocks. The council ship followed, but moved more slowly. Its heavy body had trouble turning quickly. Tom twisted the controls left and right. The ship spun between the rocks like a fish swimming through coral. Zura held the seat tight. "You fly like a madman." Tom smiled. "It works." A loud crash came from the back of the ship. Zura ran to check. A small piece of rock had hit the outer wing. She looked through the window. The damage was light, but it made her think if one big rock hit them, they would not survive. Zu or a return to the cockpit. "We can't stay here too long." "Almost through," Tom said. Suddenly, the council ship fired again. A large red beam shot through the belt. It hit a rock, which exploded into pieces. The shock wave pushed the Sparrow hard. Both Tom and Zura held on. The ship spun once, then steadied. "We're fine," Tom said. Zura's heart beat fast, but she stayed calm. "I see an opening," she said. "Fly down and right." Tom followed her direction. They moved through the last line of rocks and came out into open space. The council ship was still trapped behind the belt. Its size made it slow to turn. It would take time for it to get out. Zura looked at the screen. "We did it." Tom took a deep breath. For now, he turned off the alarm and set the ship to quiet mode. Then he leaned back in his seat. "That was close." Zura looked at him with interest. "You're not afraid of danger." "I've been through worse," Tom said. "Fear doesn't stop me. It just reminds me to be careful." Zura stood and walked to the window. She stared at the belt behind them. Then she looked at her reflection in the glass. "I was trained to fight every enemy," she said, "to crush every threat. But this running, flying, planning, it feels different. Because this isn't just about survival anymore, Tom said. It's about freedom. Zura turned around, and freedom is harder than battle. Tom stood and nodded. Double quotes, yes. But it's worth more. They sat at the small table in the ship's center. Tom poured water into 2 cups. Zura drank slowly. Where do we go now? She asked. Tom pulled up a map. There's a station near the edge of the Aaron system. It's a quiet place. Traders go there. People who don't ask questions. We can rest there. Zura looked at the map. What if the council sends more ships? Then we move again. But maybe, just maybe, we find people who want to help. Zura raised one eyebrow. You think there are others like you? Tom smiled. I'm sure of it. Not everyone believes in chains and cages. Some believe in second chances. Zura leaned back in her seat. I'm not sure what I'll become. I only know I'm not the same as before. Good, Tom said. You don't have to be. They flew in silence for a while. The stars outside blinked gently. The sparrow moved smoothly now. Far from the danger behind, Zura rested her head against the wall. I still dream of the arena, she said. Tom looked at her. That will take time. I see the faces of the ones I hurt. You had no choice. Still, I remember them. Tom stood and placed a hand on her shoulder. You carry their faces, not because you're cruel, but because you care. That means you're healing. Zura closed her eyes. She let his words sit inside her mind. You always speak with care, she said, even when things are hard. I believe in people, Tom said, even when they don't believe in themselves. The ship moved forward toward the far edge of the stars. Behind them was the past. Ahead of them was a chance to build something new, together. The Sparrow slowly approached Aaron Station, a small floating outpost near the edge of the star system. It had no guards, no rules, and no questions. Broken ships came here to hide. Old traders came to rest. Bounty hunters came to forget. Zura stood at the ship's window, watching the station grow larger. This place smells like trouble, she said. Tom smiled as he guided the ship in. That's why no one will look for us here. The Sparrow landed on a rusted docking pad, pipes hissed steam as the ship powered down. Tom grabbed a brown jacket and turned to Zura. Let's find some supplies. We need fuel and food. You should stay close. This place has its own rules. Zura nodded. She wore a long dark cloak to hide her face. Her body still carried the memory of battle, but she moved differently now. Her steps were lighter, her eyes more watchful. As they stepped into the station, voices and sounds filled the air. Traders shouted over prices. Machines clanked and buzzed. A group of alien children ran past them, laughing. A tall lizard creature sat on a box playing soft music. Zura kept close to Tom. She looked at everything. Life here was messy but free. No chains, no cages. People moved on their own path. Tom stopped at a shop run by an old alien with 4 arms. The shelves were filled with metal parts, batteries, and dusty boxes. We need fuel packs and filter sheets, Tom said. The shopkeeper grunted and pulled some supplies from under the table. Zura walked around slowly. She touched a small tool and picked it up. It was a repair device for ship wings. You know what that is? Tom asked. Zura nodded. I watched the techs fix the arena cages. I learned without speaking. You remember a lot. I had nothing else. Tom paid the shopkeeper and handed Zura the bag. Let's go back to the ship. But as they walked through the crowd, something felt wrong. Zura stopped. Her eyes scanned the crowd. 2 men stood near a corner, wearing dark coats. They held a small scanner, and its light flashed red when it pointed toward her. They're not from here, Zura said. Tom followed her gaze. Council spies. Zura reached for her cloak. We can end them now. No, Tom said. 2 many eyes. We need to disappear. They turned down a side path. The alley was narrow and dim. Behind them, the 2 men followed. Zura kept calm. Her body stayed ready, but her mind was sharp. She was no longer just a weapon. She had learned new ways to survive. At the end of the alley was a small open space with crates and shadows. Tom whispered, I have an idea. Take that door on the left Go to the ship. I'll distract them. Zura stepped back. No, we stay together. Tom looked at her. You said you want to live a new way. That means knowing when not to fight. Zura watched him, then gave a short nod. She slipped into the dark and disappeared behind the crates. Tom walked forward alone. The two men stepped into view. Human, one of them said. You're hiding something. Tom raised his hands. Just buying fuel. You were seen with her, the fighter. The council wants her back. Tom smiled a little. Maybe she doesn't want to go back. The taller man pulled a device from his belt. We will find her, and you will not stop us. Before he could press the button, Zura dropped from above. She landed between the men and Tom like a falling shadow. She struck fast. One man hit the ground hard. The other tried to pull a weapon, but Zura grabbed his arm and twisted it. The weapon fell. She looked him in the eyes. Tell your masters she is no longer theirs. The man nodded in fear. Zura let him go. He grabbed his partner and ran. Tom walked to her side. You stayed. I will not leave you, Zura said. They returned to the ship in silence. Once inside, Tom locked the doors. Zura dropped the supplies and sat. They found us again. She said. Tom checked the systems. We'll leave tonight. Zura looked at the small tool she had taken from the shop. She turned it in her hand. I thought I could escape my past, she said. You are escaping it, but the past follows for a while. I want to help you, Zura said. Not just fight, not just protect. I want to learn what you do. Tom looked at her. You want to be a builder? I want to create, not destroy. Tom nodded. Then, start here. The sparrow needs care. You can fix the damage from the chase. Zura stood. She looked at the ship, the walls, the pipes, the wires. Her hands were strong, but they could be gentle too. I will learn, she said, and I will teach. Tom said. Outside, the station kept moving. Life rushed on. But inside the ship, something quiet began. A fighter no longer ruled by chains. A human no longer walking alone. Two people, different but connected, moving forward together. Not by power. But by choice. The sparrow left Aaron's station under the cover of darkness. Zura worked beside Tom in the control room, her hands moving across the screens with focus. She had fixed the wing panel, replaced the damaged wires, and cleaned the filters. For the first time, she felt useful without using her fists. You're becoming an engineer, Tom said with a smile. Zura gave a small nod. My hands remember how to break. Now they are learning how to build. Tom adjusted the ship's path toward a calm part of space. No patrols, no council eyes. They flew in silence for some time. Then Zura asked a question she had been holding for days. Why does the council hate humans? Tom looked at her, then leaned back in his seat. Humans spread too fast. We built too much. Some feared us. Some envied us. When Earth joined the galactic network, many worlds wanted to keep us low. Your people were placed under watch, Zura said. Yes, many humans became traders, healers, or workers. But a few, like me, kept moving between systems. We help those who can't help themselves. Zura listened with care. You're not a soldier, but you fight in your own way. I believe in standing up without raising a fist. That's why I came for you. Zura's eyes moved to the front window. Stars blinked outside, each one a world she had never seen. Then maybe it's time others heard our story, she said. Tom turned to her. What do you mean? Zura stood and walked to the table. She opened the small device Tom had used to send ship messages. I want to send a message to the other fighters, to the people who still live in cages. Tom watched her with interest. They won't listen to me, she said, but they might listen to someone who once broke bones for the crowd. He nodded slowly. All right, I'll help you record it. They set up a simple camera on the table. Zura sat in front of it. Her armor was gone. She wore simple clothes, like Tom's. Her blue skin was marked with faint scars, but her eyes were calm. Tom pressed the record button. Zura looked into the lens and began to speak. My name is Zura. I was born a fighter, taken from my home as a child, trained to destroy, taught to feel nothing. She paused. I was told I was strong. But that strength was fear. It was silence. It was pain. She took a breath. Then I met a human. He did not hit. He did not run. He spoke. He listened. Another pause. He showed me kindness. I did not know what that word meant before. Now I do. She leaned forward. To all fighters still in cages. To all who believe they are only weapons. You are more. You can choose another path. Tom nodded. She was doing well. Zura finished with steady words. I walked out of the cage. Not as a slave. Not as a trophy. But as a person. Tom stopped. The recording.zura looked at him. Will anyone hear it? They will. I know how to send messages through trade lines. They spread fast. Once it's out there, the story will move from system to system. Zura stood and folded her arms. Some will laugh. Some will try to stop it. Yes, Tom said, but some will listen. That's enough. They uploaded the message and sent it through secret channels. It would travel through the dark, carried by signal ships and data traders. It would find ears. After the message was sent, Zura stood by the window. I don't know what happens next. Tom walked beside her. We wait, we watch, and if someone calls for help, we answer. Zura gave a small smile. I like that. Ours passed. Then a beep came from the ship's console. Tom checked the signal. It was a message from a nearby moon station. A simple note. I saw the video. I know you. Help me. Zura stepped closer. Someone heard. Tom nodded. They want to be free. Zura looked at the screen. Then let's go. They set course for the moon station. It was a mining colony, built deep into the rock. The council used it as a place to train young fighters in secret. The message had come from inside. As they landed, Zura felt something strong in her chest. Not fear, not rage. Hope. They walked into the dark halls of the moon base. Tom carried a scanner. Zura moved beside him. Silent but sharp, inside the tunnels, a young voice called out, over here. A small figure stepped forward, a girl, maybe 15, with short hair and dark eyes. Her arms were bruised, but her face was strong. You're Zura, she said. Zura nodded. I was like you. The girl nodded. I don't want to fight for them. I want to live. Zura looked at Tom, then back at the girl. You will. They led her back to the ship. As they lifted into space again, more messages began to arrive. One by one, from fighters, from workers, from slaves. Each message was a spark. Zura sat by the window and read them. Tom placed a hand on her shoulder. You started something. No. Zura said, we started something. The sparrow moved on, and behind them, the fire of change began to grow. The sparrow flew through quiet space, but the ship was no longer quiet. Zura sat at the table, reading new messages each day. Fighters from across the stars were sending thanks. Some escaped. Some planned to escape. Some just said the words she had once feared to say, I want to be free. Tom made small repairs to the ship while Zura helped map out safe paths for others. She was no longer just a fighter. She was now a guide. One morning, a red light blinked on the ship's console. Tom walked over and tapped the screen. His face grew serious. What is it? Zura asked. The council found out about your message, he said. They are calling it rebellion. Zura stood slowly. Are they coming for us? Yes, a patrol. Fleet is heading this way. For ships. They want to stop the story before it spreads more. Zura looked out the window. Then they are already too late. Tom smiled a little. But they can still try to hurt others. Zura stepped forward. We won't let them. They had to think fast. If the fleet caught them in open space, they had no chance. The Sparrow was a strong ship, but not built for battle. Tom pointed at a nearby planet. There's a human outpost down there. Old mining ground. The cave systems run deep. We can hide, maybe even set a trap. Zura nodded. Let's lead them there. The Sparrow changed course and dropped toward the planet's surface. It was a dry world with broken stone lands and high cliffs. The caves below had once held mining machines. Now they were empty. Tom landed the ship deep inside a canyon. Dust blew round the landing gear. Now we wait, he said. Zura helped him set up signal blocks to hide their heat signature. They worked side by side, calm and focused. Hours passed, then the sky cracked open. For Council ships broke through the clouds and circled above. Their scanners swept the canyons. One ship landed nearby. "They're coming," Tom said. Zura pulled on her old armor. It no longer felt like a chain. It felt like a tool. Her body moved easily inside it. She stood beside Tom at the cave entrance. Blasters hummed in the distance. The ground shook. Zura narrowed her eyes. "We don't run," she said. Tom nodded. "And we don't fight unless we must." Soon, soldiers poured into the canyon. Their helmets shine under the sky. They moved like shadows. Zura walked forward alone. One of the commanders stepped ahead. "Zura, you broke the law. You sent a message of disobedience." Zura kept her voice strong. "I sent a message of hope. You were built to fight. Now fight for peace." The commander raised his hand. "Then we will break you again." Zura stepped back, leading them farther into the cave. The soldiers followed. Inside, the rocks curved sharply. It was like a maze. Tom waited near a wall panel. He held a small device in his hand. "Now?" he asked. Zura gave a nod. Tom pressed the button. The old mining machines came to life. Loud sounds filled the cave. Steam burst from vents. A wall of smoke rolled across the floor. Confused, the soldiers scattered. Zura moved fast. Not to strike, not to kill, but to protect. She blocked their path, pushed them away from Tom, and led them in circles. One by one, they gave up and pulled back. Outside the cave, the Council ships received a strange message. It was not from Zura. It was from fighters across different systems, from cages, from mines. From hidden worlds. Each one said the same thing: "We are free." The ships paused. Their leaders spoke to each other in low voices. Then they left. The soldiers inside the cave were called back. Zura stood at the entrance, her armor scratched, her arms steady. Tom walked up beside her. "They're gone." Zura looked toward the sky, not because we scared them, but because they saw they already lost. Tom nodded. "Your message spread too far. They can't stop it now." Later that night, by the ship's warm lights, Zura took off her armor for the last time. She folded it gently and placed it in a box. Tom sat with her, holding a small device that showed messages still arriving. "Many want to join us," he said. "Not to fight, to build." Zura smiled. "Then we need more ships, more hands." Tom raised an eyebrow. "Are you starting an army?" Zura shook her head. "No, I'm starting a family." Tom looked surprised. She explained. "A family helps, a family lives, a family listens." He nodded. "I like that." As they flew once more into the stars, the ship no longer felt small. It felt full, full of names, of hopes, of second chances. Zura watched the stars go by. Once, she had been a weapon. Now, she was a light.